Hello, and welcome back to the News Just News weekly roundup for episode 31. How crazy. Welcome back, Lucia. How are you?
Hello, I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very hot. And as we have discussed previously, there is no AC in the UK, so I have no respite from this. So let's just get through this. Let's get into this. We've got so much to talk about today. And as always, you can find everything that we are talking about and so much more on our website, newsjustnews.com. So check it out, subscribe for more videos, like and comment. So without further ado, let's get into the first thing. I am so excited when I saw this. Hayley Kiyoko, aka Lesbian Jesus, has made her directorial debut with her extremely famous Girls Like Girls. I would say so. The film Girls Like Girls came out, haha, in US cinemas on the 19th of June, so last week. And this has been, I guess, a long time in the making. So back in 2015, Hayley Kiyoko's song "Girls Like Girls" it went absolutely viral all over Tumblr, all over like queer Tumblr, all over gay, lesbian social media. So this was a massive hit, and so she actually did a 2023 novel, and then now she's doing a film based on novel, and so it goes into it's very much based on her personal coming out story and falling in love with her female best friend when she was 16. And so she's actually said there are some scenes that are just directly taken out of real life. And yeah, with this, she said she wanted to create hopeful queer content at the largest scale possible. And we've seen that. So she did the album, she did the song, she did a novel, and now she's doing this big, massive film that's in cinemas. And she actually collaborated with Stephanie Scott, who starred in the original music video. And I think they were both on Disney together. So it's so great to see. And she also did for the soundtrack. So she collaborated with loads of queer artists, and she wanted it to be like a nostalgic summer soundtrack, much like the original song. So yeah, it's so cool. And I don't actually know when it's out in the UK, but I cannot wait to see. Lucia, I don't know if this is like it within your ballpark, but were you there when the song came out? Did you see how big it blew up?
Yeah, so first of all, it's insane to think that it's been 10 years from that.
Because I thought it was 10 and then it's 11.
Yeah, even more. So that's a bit insane because I do remember her being particularly popular over Tumblr. And I feel like that's a whole generation of things that we really liked and they were like really popular. And Tumblr, obviously, now it's kind of, lost itself a little bit. It's very changed compared to what it used to be 10 years ago, but it shaped an entire generation, I feel. And she was like a big part of that. So yeah, I feel like it's a really cool project, and I'm really glad that she had the chance to do this because obviously, it's always good to have, like she said, like hopeful queer media because that's usually, I would say that it's getting more popular in the last few years, but it's not usually something that we have a lot of. It's usually quite sad queer media, and it's also good to see some hopeful stories. So I'm really glad that she managed to, like you said, like bring this story through different media. So like through a novel, obviously a song, a music video, and now finally a film. So I think it's a really cool project, and I can't wait to watch it myself.
Yeah, I definitely got what you mean, especially with lesbians. I forgot what the trope is, but it's always like as soon as there's a lesbian, they either die or they break up. And so, I think we are moving into not just like, sad gay stories. We've got like happy gay male stories, and then now we're finally getting happy lesbian stories as well. And hopefully we'll have so much more. Yeah, I'm excited for this, and hopefully, hopefully there will be a UK screening. I'm sure there will be at some point.
Yeah, there will be.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. Some kind of happy news as well. I mean, depends if you like him or not, but tell us what's been going on with Jeremy Clarkson.
So yeah, like you said, he's kind of like a controversial figure, but he's one of those that, you either love him or you hate him. And I feel like he's got a lot of fans. Obviously he's, you know, if Hayley Kiyoko is like the lesbian Jesus, he's kind of like the car Jesus in the UK, but also in the world. He's such a famous guy, and since he stopped doing Top Gear, now in the last few years he's been particularly popular for his farming show. It's a documentary, but it's so entertaining, and it just feels like watching a TV show, really. It's called, obviously, Clarkson's Farm. And just recently, just in the past week, but all of this happened in the past week, so it's been quite intense. The last 2 episodes of season 5 of the show came out. And during those episodes, there's a scene in which he tells his collaborators that he's got cancer. This was shot in 2025, so it's been, just over a year since that announcement. But obviously, us viewers and the audience, we're only seeing it now. So during that episode, he can be seen like talking to his collaborators. He said, "I've got cancer." He doesn't reveal initially where the cancer is, just that it's. Thank God it was caught early, and that there's going to be good chances of recovery. Obviously, when the episode came out, everyone was like, "Oh my God, like, how is he? What is he doing? How is he doing now?" Because obviously it's been a year and he hasn't really given any updates. So there was a lot of online reactions, quite a strong, interest. I've seen it basically everywhere online, even from countries where you wouldn't think that it was going to be that popular. But it's just because Top Gear was a world famous show, and now I feel like with this one as well, he's getting a lot of interest. So Saturday, after all of this happened, he finally posted a video on Instagram, and he explained the situation. He said that he's okay, so he gave reassurance to his fans, and made sure to say to everybody that he's feeling well, and that he's at the moment cancer free. He's doing well, and that's because he got tested. So this video was meant to not only to reassure his fans, but also to make sure that they knew that it's important to get tested, because he then revealed that his cancer was a prostate cancer, and that, like he says, it was caught early, and the reason why it was caught early is because he got tested. So he was like, there's no shame in doing the test. Loads of people are reluctant to do it. Loads of men are reluctant to do it, but right now you can find out through, a blood test. So he was literally saying, if you've got symptoms, get tested. If you don't, lie to your doctor, pretend that you have symptoms, because sometimes that's what happens to the NHS, unfortunately. And just, try and get seen, because it's important, and it's a good chance to, catch anything early if there's anything bad or anything wrong with you. So yeah, obviously, like you were saying, because he's quite controversial, I'm sure some people even were even happy when something, when the whole announcement came out. But it's good to know that he's doing well.
Yeah, definitely. This was I kind of couldn't believe how big of a story this is, but yeah, I saw it everywhere, and yeah, I think it is good, because I did see about how he said that they caught it early, but I think it's also good that he is using his platform to encourage people to get tested as well. I think that's a really positive outcome for this story as well.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. I remember when I saw the video, there was a comment on Instagram, and someone said, Jeremy's being like a farming content creator, but he's also like doing awareness for prostate cancer, and that's amazing. I can do both. So yeah, no, it's really good that he did that, because like he said, he even mentioned that there's so many men dying from this every year. I think he said like tens of thousands or something like that. So it was a huge number. So it's really important that people take this seriously, because it really takes nothing. You can just do a blood test and you'll know, and it's a really positive outcome. Yeah
definitely. It's just so you might as well do it. And just in, like women, like check in, for like breast cancer and stuff. Like it is something that's really important. So it's really good that I guess attention is coming to this. And I think, yeah, as you were saying about like he's doing into the farming thing, I think people have definitely softened on him since he's been doing farming. I think he's definitely found a new audience in that as well. So yeah, interesting times with Clarksons. But yeah, as always, for everyone watching at home, you can find all of the articles of what we've been talking about today and so much more on music and entertainment from all over the world as well, not just the UK and the US, but Asia, South America, everywhere. So check out newsjustnews.com. And actually, speaking of entertainment and music, there are some new Grammys rules. So we've spoken about the Grammys on here before. We've been following them, and you can follow them on newsjustnews.com as well. But so yeah, they've got some new categories coming out and some new rules. And some of these are a little bit controversial. I did see a lot of this on X, people talking about it. So in terms of new rule changes, so best new artist, they can actually submit. An artist can get submitted 4 times rather than 3, so I guess you have a bit higher chance, which is good. And then for best album, they've reduced the minimum not minimum, the max. What am I trying to say? So basically, for best new album, you can have I guess fewer newer songs, because obviously artists are releasing singles so much earlier nowadays. Like it can be a year, if not like earlier, and then when they release a single, and then like months and months, a year later, that will go onto the album. So they've actually reduced it from 75% new songs to just 66. So then hopefully more albums will be able to be entered into this category. So there's obviously been, I think, a lot of controversy with that before, where albums have sort of blown up and then it's been a little bit too late because a few songs have just been a little bit too old. So I guess that changed the rules. So hopefully keeping up with trends. But anyway, in terms of new categories, we have a bit specific ones. So we've got best Asian pop performance and best Latin song, and I think these are probably the most controversial, but I'll talk about them in a bit. And then we've got best R&B collab or duo or group performance, best traditional pop vocal performance, which to be honest, it said for songs which cannot be intermingled with present forms of pop music. I'd be interested to see what they're sort of going with that, and I think next year we'll see what will be nominated. I think that'll be really interesting to see. And then best traditional folk album. So these are like quite, I don't know, they're very specific categories, and I think that is one of the things that people are criticizing, especially with the Asian pop performance. So that's not just K-pop, J-pop, or Chinese pop, that is trying to be an all Asian pop performance. And then for the Latin, the best Latin song, they've said it must be predominantly in Spanish. And so they said they were trying to be inclusive by having these, but then a lot of people are saying that all it's going to do is sort of segregate and push a lot of these songs into these categories rather than going for, the main one for the best album. So, because obviously this year's Grammys, obviously Bad Bunny won huge. He won, the top categories, and I think there's been a lot of talk of, oh, well, would he have won it actually if he was just put into these categories? So what do you think, Lucia? Do you think it's good that they're, being more inclusive, or is it actually just sort of funneling in the way?
I think they're not doing it the right way. Because it's good that they are including more artists that are coming from different, areas of the world. So instead of looking always towards the US and the UK and Europe in general, now it's good that they're opening it, for example, through like for Asia, for the Asian market. But at the same time, I feel like kind of like categorizing certain artists into that category just because they come from Asia, it's a bit reducing of their music and their artistry. Let's just say, for example, BTS. Think about them, for example. There's such a massive band. If they were to be nominated into that category, obviously it would be kind of like a different level compared to other artists from Asia that go within that category. But also I feel like it would be reducing for them specifically because each year or each album that they've produced has been quite different compared to the previous one. So for example, this latest one is very different compared to the previous one, and they would have they could have been put into a different category. Like for example, if they do like an R&B album, they could have just be put into the R&B category rather than having their space only in the Asian category.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't particularly agree with that. I feel like it's kind of I understand why it's controversial, and I would have just like pulled basically every artist that it's worth of a nomination and just put it and divide it into categories that are not related to the country where they come from, basically. What do you think?
Definitely. I think it's fine. I get when they do it by genre, because obviously artists can do artists and bands, they can release one album can be a pop album, and then one album could be like a rock album, and so when you do it that way, they sort of, you can find more things, but when they are just filtered away, I do think it is just sort of putting them into lower categories. I think it'll make it so much harder for sort of like minority artists and stuff to go for those actual top categories, and so it just doesn't balance, even though it seemingly balances, because maybe there are maybe more Asian songs can actually get nominated in some form or another, but then because they can't actually win the top prize, it's like it very much puts a glass ceiling on things, I think. So I agree with you. Yeah. So anyway, on the topic of music and rules, Phoebe Bridgers has come out with is this a new rule for her concerts? Tell us all about this phone rule.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's a new thing for her, even though it's not new in general, like in terms of events. Basically, for her next tour, which is going to bring her to the US and to Europe, and it's a tour called the Lost Tour. She has decided that she wants to do concerts that are going to be phone free. So basically, when you enter the venue, you will be asked to put your phone inside of a pouch. These are quite, common pouch. They're quite popular lately in events of this genre. And basically, you just put it in there, and then it gets sealed, and you're not able to access your phone for the whole duration of the show. And this is because she said that she wanted to create a concert that is going to be intimate and meaningful. So she doesn't want to see the sea of phones that sometimes you do see at events like that. Those pockets, like I was saying, they are sealed and impossible to reach or to unseal before the show ends, which is kind of like a controversial thing. Some people are okay with it. Some people tend to kind of like not particularly like the idea of being able to access their phone for all that time. Like I was saying, she's not the first artist to do it. Bob Dylan has done it in the past. Jack White has also chosen to do that. And yeah, it's kind of like a tricky one, because she said that basically any item that can be considered as digital or that can record cannot enter the venue. So she had no, glasses, like smart glasses, no smart watches, no cameras in general. So basically nothing that you could either record with, or that you would, have to use with a screen, basically, throughout her concert. And yeah, I think it's a good idea in terms of being able to enjoy the moment without having to see the event through a screen or without thinking about recording. But at the same time, it can be a little bit limiting if, for example, you need to access your phone for emergency, or for any sort of like contact with the outside world, if if you need to do that. So it's a bit of both. I feel like it's a good idea on some terms, but at the same time, it's quite scary for some people. So I understand why she received all of the controversy. And yeah, what do you think? Have you ever been to an event like that?
I haven't actually. I've definitely heard of. I think a lot more people and places are sort of putting in a no phones policy, but I haven't quite seen it out like this. I've not seen pockets and stuff. I've not heard of that before. I think that is kind of like scary in a way. It depends how easy or hard it is to open them up. But I mean, I know in clubs and stuff in the UK, they're starting to. I mean, I guess it's been normal in Europe for a while, but put in tape over the camera and stuff, so you can't actually record or anything. I think that is probably a better solution than this, because all I can think is, I don't know, if I was at a concert, I'm like, oh, I want to, check the trains home. I want to, like, if you're young, you want to, like, text your mom to say what time she should pick you up and stuff. Like, I think just no access, as much as that, I feel like that would make for a better experience. I think it should still be up to the person. I think if you can cover the camera, then that sort of gets rid of the problem. And then I think you should just trust people to not go on their phones as well, only if they need to. Yeah, I think it's a bit too harsh, personally. But I also
I actually, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I understand why, but then it's like, what actually, I don't. Yeah, I think that it's too. I think maybe just tape over the camera, but then if she does want it that intimate, it depends how big the venue is as well and stuff. Like, you're not gonna ever have quite as intimate of a performance if there's thousands and thousands of people there anyway, are you?
Yeah, I actually have been to an event where they sealed my phone away. A couple of years ago, I went to Manchester to see John Mulaney. Like, it was a comedy show, and in that case, my phone was sealed at the beginning of the show. But I have to say, I do get it because it was a recorded event, and I'm not sure specifically if that one was going to be recorded, but the tour, like, there was at least 1 or 2 dates that were going to be recorded, because then they did like a Netflix special for it.
Okay.
So in that case, because it was a comedy show, if someone were to film the jokes that you're saying on the stage, that would kind of ruin the whole experience, because then when it gets on Netflix, people have seen it online. So in that sense, in that case, like, I get it, because it's a comedy show. Though I can't say I feel like it I agree with you. I don't feel it's like fully necessary. I understand that you don't want to see the phones all in your face while you're playing, but at the same time, it's a concert. It's like the shows. I mean, the shows are going to be special, sure, but like the songs are songs that everyone has heard already if they're at your concert anyway. So it's not like there's going to be some limited some like exclusive experience or anything like that. So yeah, I feel like in that case, maybe it would have been better to just like, yeah, trust people and just say it would be amazing if you didn't use your phone, but then still give them the chance, because if they do need it for an emergency or anything like that, then they can access it.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, maybe there will be some sort of. I mean, we've seen different ways of doing it. We've seen the tape. We've seen now these pouches. I wonder if, I don't know. I think I might have seen somewhere about like people putting their phones in lockers. I know certainly in like schools and stuff, like they take the phones away physically as well. So maybe there will be different things in the future for, where there isn't quite that quite as much. There's going to be different ways of doing it, and they'll each have like their positives and negatives. But yeah, we'll have to see if maybe other artists will do this as well. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, but anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you for episode 32. Thanks for being Hayley Chia.
Thank you, Adam. See you next week.
Stay hydrated and bye.
Bye bye.